Hello, everybody. I want to say good day to most of you. I start to say good morning or good evening, but it's going to be all of these times as you listen because we're going to be on YouTube and other places. It'll be day for some, evening for others, and night for some. So stand by. This is the Henderson Real News Show. Organize, don't criticize. Today we are very fortunate to have different format for this program. Some of you know that I've been just standing up talking about various topics and giving you all information that will help you move forward if you choose to do so, or stay where you are and just be poor the rest of your life and have people to determine your destiny until you die. But today we are going to show you that you can change your life and your status in 30, 60, 90 days for yourself, your family, and for your community. And that's why I have a person with me today that's going to be working with me as the question specialist. He's going to ask questions about investing for the future, and he's also going to add information as he feels it is necessary to support what we are going to be discussing, and that is Mr. Williams. His real name is Dr. Purvis Williams, and he is a humanist and an investor, and he's also a man that believes in God. So when you get those three or four things together, you have a man that has the potential to really do some things. And if he doesn't do anything, it's his fault, because whenever God is on your side, you're going to find you can't fail. That is, if you believe in him, repent, and ask to be forgiven from those sins. So my interviewer today is Mr. Williams, Mr. Purvis Williams, Dr. Williams. You have so many different titles. I want to say thank you for being with me today.
Thank you, Dr.
I want you to just let the people know just what you are all about. Since you have this new religion that you shared with me some time ago, talk briefly to our listeners and viewers about it, and then let's look at investing for the future.
Again, thank you for having me on your show. This is our second round. Wonderful first round a couple of weeks ago. Love the different change. We're going to get to the questions this time and not so much freestyle, so I do like that. But as a humanitarian, that's what my focus is, trying to find ways for humanity to thrive in a more efficient manner. So that's what I focus on, is trying to look at us as a whole rather, and see what things are we missing. Where have we forgotten the old ways? And what do we need to go back to as we mix in this new technology, this new understanding that we have? Okay. So that's what I do as a humanitarian, is try to blend those past and future so that we can prosper.
Well, that's great. Well, let me tell you what I think I need to do then. Since we're going to ask, you asked me some questions, I'm going to be asking you some.
Go ahead.
And we're just going to ad-lib and do what we feel we want to do, because there's nothing we can talk about today that the listeners and the viewers couldn't use one way or the other.
I totally agree.
That's right. So what's first on your mind?
Well, hey, let's go first to your list, because this is your show, and we're going to keep it in that path, and if you got a question, we'll move along then.
Of course.
Now, first question is, how can one start an investment program? That's question one.
Okay, well, as you know, sir, that's very simple. If one wants to start an investment program, the first thing he or she will have to do is have something to invest. And the first thing you're going to need, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call an investment ideology. You must have in your mind, in your subconscious, and then your conscious mind, that I'm not satisfied with my economic situation, even if I'm rich, and especially if I'm poor. I am not satisfied, and I want to do better. And that's why we're talking about investing now and in the future. My job today is to tell you how you can start off broke and end up a millionaire or higher economically if you choose to do so. And you can start doing this in 30, 60, or 90 days.
Okay, so now, what type of programs would you recommend someone try to start? Would you say they get a investment account individually? Should they call a broker? Should they get with a small group of Facebook friends and start to discuss investment? Because a lot of times, in my opinion, what we uneducated on investment persons do is we stay away from it because nobody's willing to discuss it with us. So I may not have money in my pocket today, but just like that car that I want, I'll save up for something if I understand the benefit to me. Make sense? So if I start to educate my people more so on what investments can do for them and their families, maybe they're treated like that car and say, hey, I can see the benefits. So they'll start to save up some money to put towards that investment. So like, what would you recommend a good starting point program? Like I have a few investment accounts. So I actually was introduced through a job.
Okay,
so
well,
I was blessed.
That's good.
You
but
know,
see, most poor people don't have the job where they are going to be introduced to investing. So if one is poor or lower middle class, I always say the best way to start an investment program is to have that desire to invest. And in order to have that desire to invest, you have to know what you need to do. What do you need to have?
Right.
And the first thing is have some money to invest.
But what if you don't have any money?
That's a good
need,
start.
You need information.
That's a good start. That's a good start. So if you don't have any, you do what many people have done. You find someone or get to know someone that has an investment potential or portfolio, which means they have several types of investments. And I learned, Mr. Williams, that you can start researching those people and asking questions.
Yeah.
As a mentor, let that person be your mentor. He or she may not even know it, but every time you see them, you ask certain questions about investing. How did you get what you have, John Doe? Did you learn on your own? Did you go to school to get this information? Or did you have someone that you followed and said, I'm going to be that way?
Right.
The thing that most people don't do is go to school and get a degree and learn investment.
But it costs a lot of money.
That's why you shouldn't waste no time trying to get a degree to start investing.
However, we have cell phones now, so like you said, we can start to look for that information ourselves. It's out there.
That's right. That's what I invest first.
It's out there. So
do your self-investigation,
right,
and then you start thinking about saving.
All right. Well, hey, look like we've already passed number 2. So you got a question for me since we've already answered number 1 and 2. Number 2 was actually, suppose you're too poor to invest. You kind of touched base on that already.
Right. Well, that's fine. There's no such thing, though, as being too poor to invest.
Right. So have some
the
dreams.
Poor people that I know that are homeless, I notice that many of them always find somewhere to sleep at night.
They do.
They don't starve to death. You don't find them the next day, even if the weather is 10 below zero or 10 above zero. You don't find them dead the next day.
We're trying to say it's a survival instinct.
That's right. You always see them walking, rolling down the road with their baggage.
You're right.
And they do that for year after year. So now if a homeless man can get him a phone, which most of them have, they can become an investor in 30, 60, 90 days if they do what we said earlier, have a desire to do so.
Well, Doc, I'm not going to put that type of burden on the homeless man because he has a lot more going on in his life than trying to do the investing. However, us as a society, we can start to think more about homeless people. A lot of them are veterans, by the way, that rather than sending money overseas to drop bombs on folks, we done sent almost $1 trillion over to Ukraine, if not $1 trillion over to Ukraine. So we're going to not talk about them too much. But hey, you want to shoot a question to me? I'm open up the floor for you.
Okay, well, I want to know why you talking about sending money to Ukraine And you were talking about the facts. I believe that if they have that kind of money to send, they
Mm-hmm.
ought to be doing some investment on people in America
Yeah.
to help them learn how to get in a better economic situation. Or you're saying that when your friends are being attacked by tyrants, you're not supposed to help them if you're in some kind of association where you have agreed to support them?
That's a tough call. I say that the policing of the world has been our forced upon duty. It wasn't like they requested us to do it.
Well,
So
let me
now,
correct
now
you here.
no. See, when you drop a bomb on Japan, you put the fear of God in people. You stop a war when you drop the second bomb. Now you're, please don't bomb us, people. So when we begging you to be the leaders, that's out of fear. That ain't out of faith in your leadership. That's out of please don't bomb us. You the only ones with it. Now everybody got one, and now they talking mess. It's just like anybody you empower. You know, you give them ideas or you give them money. Once they get it, they start talking smack.
Well, that's an investment when you bomb someone. You always bomb someone, Mr. Williams, for a reason. It's usually
No, you
political.
don't. You
Listen
don't
to me
bomb
now.
for a reason.
I'm an expert on this.
Because you're evil Knievel, that's why.
We don't care nothing about evil. That's the human nature. The thing is, you bomb people and fight wars because of economic reasons. Usually they are political or they are for what I call natural resources.
They do.
Sometimes it's for territory. So
Yeah.
that's an investment because your leaders that attack others always say, if I can gain another footprint
Yeah.
in the world, if I can get more natural
Okay.
resources that I can get from others and just take them, I will have more for my people than myself, and my contributors will have an opportunity to get contracts from me and my entities so they can become more wealthy. So it's all about investment.
And-
that's why people have wars.
And you know something, I understand that broken ideology and thinking, it has gotten us here to this broken world because of that thinking. And I respect it has been the way of the world for quite a while. And if we can't sit back as humanity and say that, you know something, hey, this is going wrong. We're about to crash the bus. We need a new driver. If we're unable to see that, then I feel sorry for humanity, because when I look around this city, you can't tell me it's better than it was 30 years ago. So that means that's a decline. When you look around this country, which I have seen as a driver, you can throw in the Joe Biden fix-it infrastructure package all you want to, but the fact that we got there in the first place shows a decline in our system as a capitalistic society. So that tremendous failure that y'all celebrate disturbs me.
Well,
Makes me
you
think
have
it's
to
something wrong with
understand,
you.
Mr. Williams, when you start talking about investing,
Mhm.
you always look at the one that's initiating the investment. He or she will have their own reasons.
Yeah.
In most cases, they want to promote their interests first, so they're not too concerned about the other man's interests. His job is to help him or her reach their goals.
But we got too much follow the stupid leader, though. That's the problem. It's not about whether or not they got bad goals and dreams. It's how many people following that stupid.
Well, you have to be trained and taught to follow the leader,
They
not
did
to
that.
be the leader yourself.
Yeah, they taught you that in school.
And if you learn things from others and don't practice and learn things on your own by having that what I call discovery mode,
Yeah.
you're always going to remain in a situation where you depend on others to make decisions for you. And that is why I have found through my observation of people
Yes,
that
sir.
if you want to change your life, you first have to want to get out of the situation you're in, whether it's poor, good, or great. You want to increase that and gain more resources,
Yeah.
more money, more power, more opportunity.
More God, more connection with God. Don't forget
Well,
that.
now that's your thing on
Yeah,
that.
it
That's your
is.
thing.
Because you should have said that first in my book. You
Well,
know,
I'm not
of
in
standards
your
and
book, sir. I'm
things.
not in your book, sir. I'm
You
not
know,
in
keep
your-
God first. That's gonna be me, and you know the correction is gonna be there. You know,
Well, that's
just
good.
as a
If you
small
believe
reminder.
that, if you believe that, there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with believing in God.
Yeah, I
That's
know
very
that, though.
important. But sometimes God is smart enough and has always been smart enough, Mr. Williams, to tell us through his prophets and the writings that they have put together that has been alleged that came from God.
He said they are alleged, though.
And I want to tell you now, basically, the gods of mankind, or the God of mankind, some say gods, plural, some say singular, and it works both ways throughout the history of the world.
It's a whole swirl.
But I say most of them will tell you first, before you start thinking about what God can do for you, you have to think about what you can do for yourself.
Now,
Self first.
I like that because I'm talking about learning, like as of last night, found a audio book, which for the past 3 years I've been studying these 4 books, and now I found the book that actually inspired the 4 books. So, wow. So the law is what I mentioned when I talk about God. God is a word most people understand, so it's easy for me to say it and be relatable. If I say the law is what I respect and follow, most people are like, now I got to explain that. So it's the laws. It's like gravity. I respect gravity enough to not jump off a building. You feel me? I respect gravity enough to not jump off a building. So I wish you well all the time, and I wish the world would have a house to sleep in and clothes on their back and a good clean bath every night and good food, because those are the things I want for myself, so I wish that for the world. Those are the laws.
But let me tell you something. When you start talking about investing, the laws are not for everyone.
Because those are man's laws.
They are not for everyone. The goal that you want to set is to help yourself first, your family second, and your community third. I've been talking and teaching this for at least 50 years.
Feed your house.
If you do the reverse, you will always be dependent on someone, and especially the government. And if you think the government is going to give you a salvation plan that's going to be productive, you're fooling yourself. And that's what's wrong with a lot of people that are broke today, because every time they have some hardship, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and listeners, you want the government to do something for you. And the government is designed to help people that have goods and services and resources and take away from those that don't have nothing but the minimum for life support.
And don't you think we should fix that too, though? And and I understand that's the broken system method, and everybody will tell you the system is designed like that. However, a lot of people don't know that the people who wrote the Constitution were all under the age of 50. So if I'm 50 and I'm not considered an elder, it's some kids wrote our Constitution. And so the respect that we have for that book shows a lack of respect for ourselves as evolving into something better.
Well, that's your opinion on that.
Yeah, because
but let me tell
I've
you something.
evolved past
Let
them.
me tell you something about
smarter
the
than y'all.
Constitution. You were saying a bunch of kids put it together.
Based on the fact of numbers.
Of their age, I understand.
Of the numbers.
But to me, the Constitution, and I'm talking about the United States Constitution.
Me too.
Is one of the worst and more severely destructive documents that were ever put in effect by mankind.
Look at you.
Because it said the following, basically, that this Constitution is designed and set up for white males that have property in America. They are to select their rulers. They are to make decisions on who is going to get the rights to be a citizen, and on and on and on. And therefore, they excluded themselves to the point where they say, my wife, my daughter, my poor brother can't participate in this activity. They are going to be excluded. And if they ever get to the point, and I think they are, they then can participate in the constitutional framework of America.
I'll say this, and I agree with you to a degree of evolution is missing in what we do as a people. The Constitution is kind of like an outline. They like, hey, these are the best ideas we got in 1776. Y'all take them and run with them. In 1776, they gave that to you and said, hey, see what y'all can do. Now, in all these hundreds of years, nobody got smart enough to say, let's rewrite something, let's re-examine this. Things have changed. The world is different. The same way I look at the Bible. the Bible is a book of like, hey, look at this. We wrote this a long time ago. You guys can improve on it based on the changes that take place in nature. God is magnificent, but this is all we know right now. This is all we got it right now. And so for humanity to kind of pause and say that the geniuses of the past, we especially do it, dark-skinned folks. I ain't heard nobody talk nothing about positive new. It's always Dr. King, Malcolm X, Booker T. Washington, Harriet Tubman. Like, ain't none of y'all read nothing better since.
Well,
so
that's the problem.
It's sad to me to look at humanity.
Well, look, Mr. Williams, you got to understand that's the problem of the people you just talked about. You were talking about the dark-colored types.
I was talking about everybody at first.
You are, but you
The
finally
last part
concluded
was us.
that if black people always talk about Martin Luther King,
That was at the
Tubman,
end, though.
and all of those people believed in integrationists. They believed that the government should help the people and free them from this or that.
But we got to evolve
You didn't
past them.
find Dr. Martin Luther King, Miss Tubman, and others talking too much about self-independence and self-determination. They always were telling us we had to go and pray for the Lord to help us and the government to support it.
That was an outline.
And those two outline items that you mentioned just don't work. The reverse should be that you go and pray that you help yourself and then get involved with help from the others. That's the key to
Now,
survival and self-independence.
And here's the only thing I'll say about that point that I agree with. I agree with help yourself first. However, in the human psyche, it is unfortunately a certain point where we don't know when to turn off the help self. You know, we don't know when to say, hey, self is helped. Now, let me grab a couple more people and pull them up and help them out. Because self is helped. We good. Everybody in my house got a car. We eating too much. We blowing money. So at what point do we turn the faucet off of self-help and turn on the dual faucet of love? And I think that's the sickness of humanity, because we got cojillionaires out here right now with money hidden overseas, you know that, overseas offshore money, because they got so much. The evil, it's almost like Smeagol to me, the precious to them.
Well, Mr. Williams, you have to understand, life is not like that. Man is designed to dominate others if he can. And those that have the willpower to do so, most certainly going to use it.
I don't think that's
because
the
idea is, in a capitalistic society, ladies and gentlemen, and all of you know it is, to acquire as much as you can, economically, politically, and otherwise. Take care of yourself first, your family second, and then you start giving ideas to others, and you help them if they can help you. Now, this is the capitalistic way. That is, if you want to stay in power. If you give everything you have to your opposition, you are going to lose, and you will be the one looking into the window trying to get back into the house.
Now, it's the second time I had to say this statement to you, is that you seem to be trying to repeat the same thing the oppressor is doing. Haven't we seen that way isn't working? It is the one that's oppressing us. It has us fighting against each other. It has us being potholes in the streets while we talking about elect the same people again. It's the reason why we drowning in student debt. It's the reason why food is going up, and that food is unhealthy, by the way. It's not like it's going up because it's healthy. It's going up and it's sickening. Where's my Clean Water Act that actually works? So you're preaching for a system the oppressor put us in, as if we need to continue that path.
No, not at all. I am preaching the fact that if the oppressor learn how to be what I call the director of the goods and services and the mean of production that put him and his family in a position of high status, why the oppressed can't do the same thing.
Now we talking.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's talk
You
solutions.
learn from those that have made progress. You learn how to do that, and then you decide whether you're going to share your ideas and your success with them. Someone has to rule, and I'd rather be part of the ruling class than the part of a class or a caste system where I'm begging the rulers to do something for me.
Then if you're in a system where you're begging the rulers to do something for you, you got the wrong rulers. And I think that's where we've failed as citizens of this country. We vote every 2 to 4 years. We vote for this suffering. We like, hey, give me some more of that. I haven't had enough layoffs in my town. I haven't had enough potholes making me buy tires. I haven't had enough nights without having to boil water. So we like, hey, can I get some more of that right there by these same people?
Let me suggest
So I'm
something
thinking people
to you.
insane.
Let me suggest something to you. Why you think a politician or a corporate elitist would go and fix your potholes when he knows that they are there and they are not in his part of the city?
Yeah.
So why would he be concerned about you? If
Well-
he's going to use your tax money to fix your potholes and not have that ability to keep you poor and begging, and he stays in power and fix his potholes, build up his community,
Right.
he cares nothing about your problem.
Well, it's not so much do I expect him to care. I expect the voters to care about themselves. We always talking about self-love. You remember you were just saying we got to take care of our house first, right?
Exactly.
Before you go take care of the other houses and other things. So us as voters, we need to vote like our house is being taken care of. So if my streets are bad and my schools are failing, then this politician has been in power for 20 years. These same people, 20, 30 years, then I need to vote like I ain't taking care of myself.
Well-
as in get rid of their asses, excuse my language, and try something different. You walking barefoot through glass and it's sand over here?
But, sir, you have to understand it doesn't work that way in
I think
reality.
it does.
And in what we call
We
a
should try it.
non-democratic society.
No, that's the Democratic Society when we vote them out.
We don't vote the bad politicians out. We keep them in office, and the reason we do it, Mr.
What?
Williams, listen to me now. I want to give you facts. I'm talking about
I'm
organizing.
saying no, sir.
The politician that is in power usually does not fear the people very much because he knows his little clique is going to constantly keep him in power, and he knows he's going to put what I call perimeters in order where you are not going to register a lot of new voters. He's going to put some kind of rule or law in place where
I
it'll keep
disagree.
you from doing that. And over, if you look at the voters, it's going to be basically the same 15 to 30%.
No.
Most people in America don't vote. The
I
highest voting time is when they vote for a president of the United States, and that's the worst time for citizens to vote because you find that the popular vote doesn't elect a president. Everybody in the United States can vote for one person, and if the Electoral College, which consists of 538 individuals, choose to go in another direction,
They can
that
change it.
will make the president of the
Right.
United States. So this so-called popular vote is nothing on the federal level. It's just a waste of time, and they need to abolish it or abolish the Electoral College.
now
And they're not going to do either one of them anytime soon.
I agree with you about the Electoral College because that is the stupidest of stupid. But again, these persons put this in place and we never evolved past it. That's our fault for being stupid. Now, if we're going to make a change, I say because the system is set up this way and we got to follow man's laws, then I say, hey, we try to vote them out. Now, you don't think we should vote out the bad people? I disagree. I'd rather have a rookie driving than a drunk driver that I know is drunk. I'm asking for my death. So I'd rather have somebody in there who I know is sober and who may not have ever driven down this road before than a known drunk driver. So that's just my personal preference is to just change drivers. We'll get somewhere different. Now, once those new drivers are in place, we can go in a different direction. See, the drunk driver don't want to hit nothing. You ain't never talked to a drunk and got them to do nothing that they didn't want to do. A sober driver is reasonable. They're considerate. They have empathy. They care. So we can talk about the problems are in office, and you talking about voting to keep them in? Oh, hell no. I need somebody who in that sober that we can talk to, that actually has a heart, who is not all about gimme, 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 more, 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 money, money, money. See, that's the problem. A lot of people don't know how much $1 billion is really.
But
They don't know how much it is. We got to educate these people on these numbers and what these numbers really look like.
listen at this, Mr. Williams. You have to understand what you are saying now is good, but is not in reality.
It is. We have to make it reality.
The very people that you're talking about that's trying to get the dollar, trying to get the power, are the people that make the policy. They are not going to include people that want to put them out of power and make it easy for that to happen, because man has been conditioned not to fight for his rights.
Well, see,
that is part.
I'm unconditioning that because you take a shovel and you dig in the dirt and you plant a seed. If you don't ever dig in that dirt, that seed is never going to get in there. If you never speak those words, those people never hear it. The people don't know that there's courage present if we're quiet, Dr. Henderson. If all of us are cowards, then guess what? The humble sheep are waiting on a shepherd. I'll be damned.
Well, where is the shepherd?
Well, if I have
Who
to be one of them,
controls
then stand up, I will. But I refuse to let evil have a word in my presence and not get called out. Are you serious?
I am serious.
You can't be serious
I
talking to
know,
me.
Mr. Williams.
You know me better, though.
I know that things are not
But you know me better.
rosy as you see it. See, you are one of the outliers that have been...
Did you call me a liar?
No,
I'm just playing,
outlier. You are the one that's on the peripheral, on the, what I call the roof, looking around in the hole in the roof, trying to see what's going on in the planning room.
I'm on the ground.
Let me finish this.
I see that.
And then you think you're going to have some impact by thinking what the Lord is going to do for you and how man ought to be righteous.
It's the law.
The law is designed to promote the rich and the powerful.
Wrong
Mr.
law.
Williams.
Wrong law.
Well, you're not going to get this law
That's the wrong
changed
law.
anytime soon.
Well, the law don't change. That's God's law I'm talking about. You talking about man's law, the law that has you in fear of these people. See, I'm not in that fear. See, they use the law against you. I'm using it to work for you. My fault. Well, it's not really my fault. It's nothing I can really do to explain to you something you don't understand. See, the fear is what keeps us from telling them, I'm finna go on strike. I'm not gonna take these low wages anymore. You rich people, cook your own damn food.
Well,
Drive yourself to the store. See, when Dr. King stepped out there with the garbage man strike, guess what? They fixed it, because that's how you get them. The garbage. So you learn from the past and evolve into a future. Don't bring that coward with me. Don't bring those bad ideas with me. Don't bring that old stupid history. Bring new ideas and prosperity for God's people to prosper. I've seen enough of the evil doing. I've seen enough. So why don't God's people organize? Don't criticize.
that's why I've been preaching this for years, Mr. Williams, about organize and don't criticize.
I'm going to help you stand up.
But the thing is, there are not a lot of God's people out there,
We don't
Mr.
need
Williams.
but one or two or three.
That's why the people in power that have
4 or 5.
invested, listen to me now, that have invested in this power structure is always looking for that one person.
Well,
What they are going to do, and they have always done it,
Let
if
'em
they
look.
see one that's trying to rise, they're going to get together, have a meeting among themselves, I'm going to make it simple,
They need to meet.
and decide that I'm going to find the leader that we want, and then going to kill the one that's out there working with the people.
See.
Throughout the history of mankind, that has always happened.
Now, I'm going to tell you about the power of the word and the understanding of the law. And that's why it happens when you have people coming to you and saying they're going to try to kill you. You're going to try to kill you. If you allow that to affect you mentally and you start to say, I'm going to get them first and stuff like that, then those things will come back on you. So they send those evildoers to do evil doing. However, if you understand the law, they'll just be pursuing. I'll stomp them out. Because God goes before me, sir. And I'm only going to make it as far as God wants me to go. I'm looking for my whirlwind to get on up out of here. But again, I'm not fearful of man's words. God is undefeated. Those are cowards. And if y'all read some of the stuff I be posting, y'all will see those cowards don't even know what they doing right now. They even wrote it down and posted it on the internet because they actually got to tell you the laws that so they don't break them. I'm like, learn the law, people. You'll understand this a whole lot better. I can't make you understand something you don't. It's like trying to teach a fish how to walk.
Well, you have to understand, we are talking about investing for the future.
Yes.
Now listen, I'm talking about investing in your self-interest. I'm talking about economic investing. I'm talking about political investing. I'm talking about investing in mankind's knowledge and his actions and investing for self-enhancement.
Yeah.
That's the part I'm most concerned about.
So am I.
Those people that are not looking out for their own interests by changing the status quo. Many of these people, and I've been knowing people like this for years, think I'm supposed to be poor because I'm part of 3 or 4 generations of poor people.
What if I told you we speak ourselves into that because we forgot the law? Like grandmama used to tell us, baby, watch what you say. It'll happen. See, we forgot that. And so we started talking about how the light-skinned people, we'll call them white for people not to wonder who I'm talking about. White people is always going to have the money. They're going to always keep us oppressed. They're going to always, you remember, you heard that before.
Oh, I've heard it.
So when we say those words, we make those things happen. So not respecting God's laws, not respecting the power that is in the creation with words, we fell into our own trap set by them. See, we supported, all they had to do is say it one time. And you know us. My car got to be bigger and shinier and bigger rims. So I said it louder. And then he heard it and said it louder. And bam, bam, bam. And next thing you know, white people are always going to be on top. It was said across the whole dark-skinned community. And guess what happened? That, because I guarantee you, when you were growing up, you never heard that.
I haven't heard what specifically.
Like white people gonna always be on top. They gonna always keep their foot on our neck. Y'all went out and they told you can be anything you want to, baby. Get some education. Go get it. Now I know you came from a plantation, but I know they had more motivational speeches there than we have today.
Well, they did, but the thing is that helped just a few people. Most people that were born poor and on the plantation or born poor off the plantation usually had that what I call environmental plantation
mentality,
action and mentality.
It's hard to break it.
They didn't improve themselves very much.
Now,
it is just like Mr. Williams, where you have 3 generations of poverty in your family, and here you are in 2024, more, I would say, worse off than your parents and your grandparents, economically, politically, socially, and so forth. And really mentally, your health is worse. You have less money. You own more worthless items. You don't have anything paid for. You don't have a will. You don't have a health care initiative. You have no investment in stocks and bonds. Your family has been destroyed. And you have so-called education where you ought to be doing better.
And I heard that.
We cannot prosper unless we invest in self first and decide how we're going to dominate in these areas that I mentioned, and then decide what we're going to do for other people. You have to take what's yours as a human being, put it in a position where you can control it, and share it as you feel is necessary with others. But at the same time, continue to dominate and be able to wipe out those that's trying to dethrone you. That's the way life ought to be and is, and this is practiced throughout the world and always has been, even during the time when Jesus was walking the earth.
Well, I'll say the design currently benefits the rich more so than the strong, because you can inherit, Donald Trump, a lot of money and have a lot of wealthy friends and invest because of stock tips, Donald Trump or Nancy Pelosi. You can invest the right way. That doesn't mean you're smart. So the benefit to the rich is to benefit in the friendships, the ass kissing part. So I don't prescribe to that because I understand that's not God's way. An over-assess, an overabundance of something, that's where God speaks of evil. Only time, I just learned that today, actually. I was listening to the audiobook. So God talks about prosperity and giving and getting a lot. But once you get to a certain point, it's excessive, and that's where God talks about evil. So the misunderstandings, again, that we have are leading us down the wrong path when it comes to the prosperity of the human race, and not such a dominational mindset. I'm not trying to dominate people. I'm not trying to be the leader. I would rather hang out with you and you buy drink sometime and I buy drink sometime. I don't want to be the leader and have to always pay.
Well, let me suggest something. That's what would keep you poverty-stricken, not
No.
wanting to be the leader.
No.
Mr. Williams, we have to teach our people that every person that's alive after they pass 10 years of age ought to want to become a leader in something and be dominant in something so they can look out for themselves and their family and their community.
What they want to be a part of.
You're a part of when you get something.
And here's another thing, Doc. Let's be honest. Let's get honest for a second. Everybody shouldn't be told to be a leader because we know DNA, IQ-wise, that's not achievable. Everybody's not a CEO, nor is everybody a mechanic. There are people who are mechanics that are phenomenal at working. Guess what? They shouldn't be no owner of a mechanic shop and doing their own paperwork. They shouldn't. They're not mentally prepared for that. Now, if somebody like a Dr. Henderson saw the skills and they were like, you know what, I see the skill set. So what I'm going to do is invest in them. I'm going to take that skill set, open them a shop, let them work, but I'm going to handle all the other stuff so that they prosper. We don't have those kind of people anymore, Doc. That's how it used to be in the olden days when we were taking care of each other. We see the potential, and then we feed that potential with our education and knowledge, but we respect the weaknesses. Now we're expecting everybody to be a CEO. And come on, seriously?
Well,
I can't even have a decent conversation with 99% of these folks out here, and you want all of them to be CEOs.
No, I don't want that to happen. I'm telling you, when you are becoming a leader, you have to have yourself an inspired leader. You might not be the CEO of your company, but you can be your own CEO where that little boy, your daughter, your son will look at dad that is that mechanic, that's feeding them and supporting them, giving them an education opportunity to be the king of the house, to be the dominator. And that's where you get your start, by looking at someone that's in power that you have respect for, and he doesn't have to be the CEO of the company. He could be the breadwinner. You want to be like your father. You want to be like your uncle that raised 5 or 10 kids and fed them all, and all he did was be a carpenter or a well digger or what we call a truck driver.
And I think that is wonderful. And most kids do want to, young men want to be like their fathers. They follow them around like the mother duck and the ducklings. Girls want to be like their mothers. They follow them around. They're learning how to be women, and so forth and so on. You gravitate towards that parent authority. The unfortunate side of today is we're busy. They're forcing us to work with low pay. So mom's at work, dad's at work. So the kids now are raised by cell phones and televisions. So we're not fighting back hard enough against this system destroying our families. So you said we got to take care of us first, our house. Those are some of the things I fight for with Project Humanity, is learning to take care of our house in a different way. Because currently, this way is not working. And I need people to understand that. I'm not fighting against the system that's broken. I'm fighting against our support for the broken system.
Well, the thing you must understand, if you think others going to fix this system by you praying for them and saying what the God plan is,
I got plans, Doc. You read my plans, Doc?
I read your plan, but you have to have it generated to others and not just for yourself, Mr. Williams.
I put it online.
That is like having a Bible and you know every verse in the Bible.
And you share it. You put it in the hotel rooms for them to read it.
That's not going to do any good. That has not helped mankind. Every hotel room you go
is
to,
what? Just
usually you could find a Bible.
okay.
I haven't been in a hotel
Okay.
room recently and did not see a Bible.
So they stole them all.
But who is going to read them? Who is going to practice them? That's not Americanism at all, to read and practice what's in the Bible.
Okay.
Man doesn't care anything about that Bible. All he want to do is what I called it when I was down in Bossier, Mississippi. He just want to tote it. He's not going to read it and practice
You
what's
sure
in
right.
there.
Now I'm gonna go back to something you were talking about when you were speaking about where you grew up and the people who got the plantation mentality, right? Okay, plantation mentality. Somebody feed me, give me what I need all the time. I'm chilling, they chilling. You know, I heard that, so we got to go. But that's the plantation mentality. It's free stuff, keeps you lazy and fat. You're not gonna fight back. I'm gonna let you go with that because that's the society today. But it's for all of us, including the overseers with some money. They got the slave mentality too, and they just don't know it.
Okay, well, I'm going to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, by saying that if you want to get ahead in life and be dominant and be able to make decisions that's going to impact you, your family, and your community, you have to learn to invest economically, socially, politically, religiously in yourself first, and then teach that to your family. And you only include others if they have an interest that's going to co-align with what you are doing. You don't help your enemies. You don't criticize your enemies. You just ignore them, and you get things for yourself and help others prosper if you feel it's going to be something that's going to generate humanness in your or our society. Don't be like some. And that's why black people remain in slavery for almost 300 years. They believed too much in what God was going to do for them, and God never did do anything for black people until they started fighting through their, we call it, abolitionist ideas to get some relief.
We call it, they wrote that in history, but we'll discuss that next
So
time.
folks, keep in mind, you must organize self first so you can help your family and then your community. Don't expect the preachers, the elected politicians, and the corporate leaders to do anything for you. You pay their salaries, so you determine what happened. And the first thing you need to do is start thinking that you are important, that you are your own God, and someone is going to respect you if you do something to elevate yourself. Someone that's looking at you right now, even though you might be the plumber in the community. You might be the bus driver. Someone is looking at you. So I'm going to say organize, invest in self for the future, and your life will start changing in 30, 60, or 90 days. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back on Thursday and Friday from 8 to 9 p.m. Mississippi time. Thank you very much.